This video is brought to you by Fiverr, connecting you with the freelancers you need to help build your brand, including logo designers, special effects artists, voiceover talent, SEO specialists, and much, much more. So go ahead and click that link down in the description to check out my curated store for my most recent recommendations on top Fiverr sellers. That was a tongue twister. And the video starts
now. It's been a cold season for Canon shooters. There's no innovation, Canon isn't listening, and you'd be better off using your phone. That's what I keep hearing. That's what I keep reading. Yet here I am, in the cold, and I'm left wondering, do I leave and where would I go? Did I stay because there's comfort at home? What if everything they told me was true? Would I get left behind like Kirk Cameron too? Call it loyalty or call it delusion, say I'm honest or dishonest, accuse me of collusion. But all I've got is my story to tell. My name is Jesse.
And this is why I still shoot on a Canon camera. Okay, I hope you enjoy the video, because that was something.
I've been shooting Canon now for, I don't know, 9, nearly 10 years, since the original Canon 7D, 5D Mark II, since those cameras came out. And I'm still really happy with it. It's not perfect. There are things that I really want them to change, but I'm still here. And I wanted to explain to you why. I've been shooting now for the last year on this, the EOS R, and I like it. I made a full review of it. You can watch that here if you want. But this camera isn't the reason that I'm still shooting Canon. Thank you so much. It's because they're paying me. No, of course it's not because they're paying me. I wish they were paying me, but they're not paying me. I promise they're not paying me. No, the real reason that I'm still shooting Canon is this, and this, and this, and a little bit of this. Now with lenses like the 50-1.2, the 85-1.2, and more recently the 15-35 2.8 IS, 24-70 2.8 IS, and the tiny 70-200 2.8 IS, Canon is clearly going for the high-end pro market. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, they don't even have a pro RF camera yet, and you'd be right about that. But I believe that Canon's commitment and their investment in these super high-end lenses like the 28-70 f2 shows they're serious, and eventually the pro-level cameras will come. All right, this was dumb. The big point for me, and the reason that I actually like this system so much and that I choose to shoot on it still today, a year later, oh my gosh, it's just that overall it's an enjoyable system to use. And I've said this enough times, every camera manufacturer is making great cameras. So for me, grabbing a system that I enjoy more just means I'm gonna shoot more. And if I'm shooting more, I'm progressing more. And if I'm progressing more, I'm booking more clients and counting up to 6. To my house! I thought for sure that I would finish this video at my house, which is why I said, back to the house. But no, back to the studio.
Know this, I don't care what camera you use. I'm not telling you to buy a Canon camera. I'm sure Canon would like me to tell you to buy a Canon camera, but if like a Sony works better for you or a Panasonic works better for you, heck, if one of those old Samsungs works better for you, go for it. Just like make things you like, have fun with it, just do it.
The ice is already turning into rain by the time we've come out here, so we're gonna have to go quick, but luckily these are weather sealed lenses. I probably should have a filter on it, but I don't own filters. And what I love about the 70-200 focal range, especially at 2.8, is it's such an awesome lens to just pick off little details. So I'm gonna get a bunch of these icicles just sticking off of the bikes and sticking off of all kinds of stuff to just show like, it's disgusting out. Yeah, yeah, I got it. Look at it like right after I hit record.
You probably know this by now, certainly you do at this point in the video. I'm a Canon shooter, and I have been for a really long time. And there's a couple of reasons that I'm still here, but I also want to dive into the things that I don't like about the system and the things that I think they really do need to address soon. Currently, I own 4 RF lenses, 3 of which are L series, so it's safe to say that I'm invested into this system. I have no intention of jumping ship anytime soon because that's a terrible way to spend your money. Don't do that. Find a system you like and stick with it for a while. Honestly, just stay there for a while. If you're jumping brands every few months or even every couple years, there might be a problem. Unless you're Gary, aka the Everyday Dad. I don't know. I feel like he gets a pass. 24-105 f4 IS. Basically, everyone offers one of these lenses, and they're all pretty good. Quite sharp. They're not too big. They offer a really useful focal range. No real complaints. So this is the RF 24-105 f4, and this is the older EF 24-105 f4. They look very similar. They weigh about the same, size is about the same. However, you've got to remember you're adding like an inch and a half of length to these lenses. Not only that, but because the adapters are essentially hollow, you're shifting that weight further from the sensor, which is going to change how the balance feels. Now, this lens here is actually something kind of special. It is a 15-35 f2.8 IS. And what I like so much about it is it's about the same size as the old 16-35 2.8 Mark III. However, in that very similar package size, you get 1 millimeter wider, which on the wide end is quite a lot. You also get stabilization, which is a big deal for people like me. And again, you don't have that added weight and length of the adapter making things slightly less balanced. This lens for me is going to live on my R 90% of the time from here on out. It is also very expensive, so remember that. The other lens that I want to talk about, which I don't have with me because I lent it out to a friend, because I'll tell you in a second, is the 35 f1.8 IS macro. What's cool about this lens is it's kind of the only, I'd say, affordable lens right now for the RF system, but it has so many things going for it. It's small, it's lightweight, it's fast, it has an f1.8 aperture, so it's great in low light and gives you a nice depth of field. It's stabilized, and just as an added bonus, it can go to half macro, so it's like a 2-to-1, 1-to-2, whatever it's not as much as 1-to-1 macro, it's half macro. The only reason I actually lent it out is because I've got the 15-35 2.8, and so it's like, do I need 2 different stabilized 35 millimeter lenses? Probably not. I went to Colombia earlier this year making some videos for Stoke Cold Brew Coffee, and all I brought with me was the R, the 24-105 for versatility, and the 35 1.8 for kind of sexier shots, that shallow depth of field, dreamy bokeh kind of stuff. Finally, this is where things get really, really interesting. It's a Brevity jumper, and it looks just like an old JanSport backpack. This is for clothing, snacks, sandwiches, whatever you want. So it's just a very small camera compartment down here at the bottom. This is the brand new Canon RF 70-200 2.8. And what's crazy about this lens is that it kind of delivers on the promise that we all thought mirrorless cameras were making, which is that you could get better lenses that were smaller and lighter weight. I basically just can't believe how steady this lens is. I'm at 200 millimeters in 4K, so that's like 200 and, am I in 4K? Yeah, that's like, I don't know, 1,000 millimeters with the crop factor, and it's rock solid. I don't have the digital IS on, the shot isn't stabilized. It just looks super stable. Up until now, for the most part, it's just been like, sorry, physics exists, there's nothing we can do. But this lens has some real magic up its sleeve. With the size of these RF lenses compared to their EF counterparts, you can actually pack a full frame kit into a small bag. No one would even realize just how much is in here. 15-35, the 7200, I'll toss a mic in here just in case. Space for a laptop sandwich. I couldn't put this lens on this camera into this bag at all. And as somebody who just kind of makes internet videos as a job now, that's a big deal that I can have a small unsuspecting bag and have some dope gear. The size difference is staggering. Even without the adapter, you were never able to stand this lens up in here, which meant you had to lay it down and have it take the place of 3 lenses. And now with the new RF mount version of this lens, pops right in, close the bag up. That's a big deal. That means I'm actually going to take it with me places. And so now for the cameras. You know, we don't have full frame 4K from Canon unless you're buying a C500 Mark II, and that's a shame. I like the cropped 4K out of this camera. I think it's really beautiful footage, and sometimes when I want reach, great. But Canon, I need the option. I need full frame 4K sometimes. I don't always want to be cropped in. And then proper slow motion. Well, the 1DX Mark II did a really good job with 120 frames. The C200 that I'm shooting on here has 120 frames, and it's not great, honestly. So if you're looking for slow-mo, the 1DX Mark II and the upcoming 1DX Mark III, which looks to be absolutely bonkers of a camera, are kind of your only option. So I'm hoping Canon will come out with full frame 4K and better slow motion capable cameras in the near future at a lower price point. Finally, there's this one awkward sticking point for me right now, which is that I'm invested in EF lenses, RF lenses, and EFM lenses. I own and use the C200 for so much video shooting, which is an EF mount camera. I use the R for so much of my photo and video stuff. And then I still have an M5 and an M50 that I love for their size, but none of these lenses are really interchangeable. While you can adapt your EF lenses to both mirrorless bodies, you then lose the benefits that all these smaller, lighter, better RF lenses offer. So right now I'm in this awkward point where it's like, I want to, and obviously am, investing in RF lenses. Holy cow, that was expensive. If you want to know more about like my thoughts and my experience with the EOS R, I have a dedicated review of it. It's a really good camera overall. It does everything pretty great. It's not the best at anything, but it can hold its own in almost any field. Also, firmware updates have come out since that video, and now photo and video autofocus are even better than they were before, so thumbs up. I still recommend the R. Still my favorite camera, probably ever, but I just want a more pro version of it. That's about it. Oh, and let's just get one more thing out of the way. Just because someone says good things about Canon does not mean they're sponsored by Canon. Because in this case, this video is sponsored by Fiverr. Fiverr is empowering creatives all over the world by connecting you with a global community of freelancers to help build your brand, including logo designers and copywriters and website developers and all sorts of things to help grow your business. And in my business, there are so many things that I'm just not very good at. So if I have the opportunity to outsource and offload some of that brain space, that's what I'm gonna do every time. Fiverr has the talent you need to make it happen. So, what are you waiting for? Check out my curated store in the description down below for my most recent recommendations on top Fiverr sellers. Go now, click the link. The video's about to end. And you don't want it to auto-roll to the next video, so click the link. Quick, go now. Okay, that's all.